The key thing people fail to realize when they're starting a relationship with a narcissist is that while maybe you're coming together with them because you like them, there's some sparks flying, there's a bit of chemistry because they make you feel good and you think you're making them feel good, so you're just trying to see where things go. The narcissist, on the other hand, while they might be feeling those things too, at a very important level, they see you as someone who has the potential to supply them long term, but not because you're going to be going into a healthy relationship with them, not because you're going to be having a healthy relationship together, but rather they see you as somebody who's willing to commit to them, somebody who's willing to devote yourself to them much more strongly, much more powerfully than they are to you. But of course, they never tell you that. They never tell you at the beginning that they believe that you are somebody who will fall more strongly for them than they will fall for you. And the reason they place a lot of eggs in your basket, the reason they invest in you so heavily, is because they're expecting to get that positive payback in the long term. And that positive payback comes in the form of when they do reach that point where they feel they no longer have interest in you, they might stick around with you, but maybe with a high level of indifference, a high level of devaluation, a lot of stonewalling, etc. They think that you'll still stick around and supply them by wanting them, even though they have no further interest in you. So that's what's going on in the narcissist's mind. Maybe not consciously, a lot of it's more subconsciously, but if the narcissist can feel that positive chemistry with you at the beginning, if there's something like real there, and on top of all that, they see you as somebody who would devote yourself to them much more powerfully than they have the capability of devoting themselves to you, then they kind of see you as a really promising person or a promising prospect. And from there on, so much makes sense if you understand that. So much makes sense if you understand that the narcissist was enjoying the euphoria, the initial euphoria of you, of everything you brought to the table, but they saw something extra in you that made them focus their efforts on you a bit more than they would on other people. And when the narcissist does start to devalue you, of course, they're not going to completely let you go in one go. What narcissists do, they like putting you down, they like making you feel bad, and they like getting that emotional rush which comes from watching you feel bad about yourself, from watching you feel ashamed. And a lot of times people at the beginning, they'll bounce out of that quite quickly. Somebody devalues you, you kind of bounce out of it. You know, maybe you're like 100% yourself, somebody devalues you, you go down to 50, and then eventually you come back up to 95%. But you're still almost yourself, and so the narcissist keeps devaluing you, because if you're 95% yourself still, you can still supply them, do them favors, etc. And then they take you down to 40%, and you bounce back up, and then you're at 90%. And then over time, they take you down to 30%. If what's really happening is they're chipping away at you little by little. So every time they take you down, they're taking you down a little bit further. And every time you bounce out of it and regain your composure, you don't quite stand where you were before. So while you start off at 100, you become at 90, 80, 70, 60, until over time you reach the point where on your best days, on the best of circumstances, you're maybe 20, 30% of who you once were. And then at that point, you're pretty stale. You don't have that much to offer. And the narcissist thinks, okay, now they're not going to try anymore. They're not even going to breadcrumb you anymore. They're not even going to future fake you anymore. They're not even going to throw the intermittent reinforcement anymore because you're not really worth their efforts. And then they let you go. But a part of them does expect you. When they let you go, when they discard you, it's not always an explicit discard, but there's always something that happens where, in a way, you two separate from each other. They do expect you to chase them. Narcissists need to be chased. Narcissists need to be desired by the people who they discard. Because even though you feel, if the narcissist has devalued you for a long time and they finally let you go, you kind of feel like you have an emotional investment to them and that they don't have any emotional investment to you. That's how it feels because they're treating you like crap and they let you go. They behave as though you mean nothing to them. You have no place in their life. But what you don't realize is the narcissist does have an investment in you. They do have an emotional investment into you, but it's not the same type of emotional investment. You see, they don't want a healthy, loving relationship with you. They don't want a caring, reliable relationship with you. Their investment is in the form of expectation. They're emotionally invested in their expectation of getting an emotional response out of you and getting some kind of feedback out of you after they've pushed you away. And that's why when narcissists are no longer with you, it's only for a relatively short period of time when the narcissist is with somebody new that maybe they don't really care if you reach out to them, if you don't chase them. It's only for a relatively short period of time. And I'm talking days or weeks. I'm not even talking months. Maybe sometimes months, but not usually. Where the narcissist is with somebody new and they are just so enveloped in that they can't think of anything else. So maybe during that short period, they don't necessarily need any response from you. But that's very short-lived, and that's not how they live most of their life. So when they're outside of that super high euphoric zone, they are expecting you to chase them. They are expecting you to want them back. And it's by having those expectations fulfilled that they're getting their needs met in accordance with their emotional investment. So that's why when you do not chase the narcissist, that's why when you move on, it hurts them so bad. Because the currency they need to be able to trade off of, you're not giving it to them. And of course, at the beginning of a breakup, once you've broken up with a narcissist, maybe you kind of feel you need to try to get some clarity if you haven't been through it before. And if you think about your past relationships, maybe you've been through that. Because it's just so confusing, so daunting, so unexpected that you try to get more clarity. But over time, if you can let it go, if you can move on, if you can stop chasing, if you can stop wondering about them, then that's where they're not getting their needs met. That's where they're not getting their expectations fulfilled. And that's where they start getting all antsy and jittery and, oh my goodness, how can I bring this person back into my life? Because they're not getting their needs met. And it's funny though, because you play a special part in their life that they can't really get other people to fill the void that they're trying to fill with you. And that's why so often when they realize you're not going to chase them back, you're not coming back, they feel they have no choice but to reach out to you. And that's often where you see the Hoover. Thanks for watching.